Hello, everyone. Believe me when I tell you that you will never ever see a match like this one. It is going to be the most unique match you will have ever seen. This match happened about like a year ago, I think. It was like the round 3, I believe, of the Glen Storm Cup number 1. It's a high funds tournament, so it is a high funds match. And before I start to getting too much into the match, I don't want to spoil a lot because it gets pretty crazy and it is very unique. So let's start off with the map, a little bit of an overview of the map because a lot of it has to do with the map. This was, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Glen Storm Cup. This was the Quack Cup. And if I'm not wrong, it was the first Quack Cup. So it was like wacky or gimmicky maps. And this one, for sure, is gimmicky. The gimmick being that it is like a migration kind of map. And I know a lot of you out there play these migration types of maps. They can be very fun and casual where, you start with your infantry and you can choose where to go. You'll see there's 6 bases distributed around the map. So you can go and pick whichever base you want to go to. You start with these 2 infantry, where player 1 can first unload 1, then player 2 unloads both of them, and then next turn player 1 goes with the next one because this blackboard is off from this show. So that's your little FTA counter, And so that's what it is right here. You got an immigration map. You got those 6 bases. You can pretty much pick and choose where you want to go. You see, for example, for the penguins, this black boat moves 7 tiles. You can go here and then you unload it over here. So that's like 1, 2 turns, 3 turns to start capturing this one. You could go same here, like 1, 2, 3 turns. You could go over here if you want 1, 2, 3 turns. Same over here, 1, 2, 3. And maybe even go for this one over here. Like you can pretty much go anywhere you really want to. And so for a little bit more of context, I was definitely watching how others were playing this map because I'm not against any player. We have Mr. Go7, who I will get to in a second. I was looking at how players were playing, and they was, especially in Division 1, now this was Division 1, so I was like, okay, how are they playing it? And they were all tending towards the same thing. They were all being like, they were all picking Jess. It was a tier 4 matchup. So they were doing Jess, and they were all kind of like, they were all going for their bases, and then they would have like a big stare off. Usually like one player would get this side and the other player would get this side, and they would like stare off over here in this front and this front. That's what mostly happened. Lots of battleships being built and stuff like that. But Go7 decided not to go with Jess. He decided to go with Lash. And Go7 is a very good player. If you don't know who Go7 is, he streams all the time on YouTube and Twitch now as well. He streams like a few times a week, and he's a really great player, very creative. He's a great person. I really love his playstyle because he's very, very creative. Like he comes up with different approaches to a map, doesn't go with what everyone is doing, just tends to have like a different outlook and approach to the map according to how the things are set up, and the COs as well. He's one of the very few that really defends the Rachel day-to-day of healing faster and uses it to great effect. So I definitely look up to Go7. He's a great, great player, very creative, and really, really good. He's been like number 1 in the Global League for a while as well. So this wasn't going to be just your average kind of match, right? But he decided to go with Lash. Out of all the COs, especially in high funds, and in a map where it tended to be kind of like stally, where like you have these 2 tiny fronts, Lash would be probably the worst, and Jess would be really good. And Jess is usually really good in high funds because you get a lot of vehicles, and she gets that power and the super and just packs a punch. And Lash, like, she falls short on the power department, But Go7 had other plans. So let's get into the match. Trust me, it gets wild as soon as I start clicking the next button. So we're gonna start off. We got Go7 in the Penguins, his favorite faction. He's gonna load the first infantry. He's gonna start capturing here, but it's not gonna finish. It's just to move just the blackboard in here. And he is going to choose to go down over here. So I'm gonna unload the infantry. So this could be, one, and then he can do next turn. So in 3 turns, he would be starting to capture this base. So it seems like he picked that one. It's interesting because player 1 can like pick what base to start with, and then player 2 picks the next 2. So now it's my turn. I was like, okay, that's what I was expecting. Okay, that's what everyone is doing. Putting the black boat here. There's also this thing of like making sure you're not putting the black boat anywhere. You have to block the shoal so that the other can't come in and like take the base for you or something like that. You have to be careful about that stuff. So I'm gonna load my guys, and I'm gonna send one over here. See, I'm blocking the shoals, for example. And it is in range, like in 2 turns, it's gonna be over there. And then I'm gonna send my guy over here, and it's blocking over here, so I can unload safely and then get this base. So I'm picking to get this one, and I'll get this one later on. There's also these airports over here, so like if you control this area, then you can send something and get that. You send your black boat and get the airport, and then you get that big stare off. There's these labs as well, but they're piped off, so you can't win by HQ/lab capture. You just have to win overall. And so let's see. This is day 2. What are the Penguins going to do? They would normally go over here to then unload over here and get this base. But this guy is gonna load onto this black boat, and it is going to actually go right next to my black boat and unload right in front of my infantry. Now, why would he do that? In any other matchup and map, or in just your normal match, you would never do that. Like, I know it's a forest, okay, you have 20% more defense, but a first strike, usually, you have 1 comm tower, so you have like 120 infantry. You're gonna shoot at that guy and leave it at 5, and then hit back to 8 maybe if you're on the plains. You're just overall gonna win that fight. But we're not talking about your average match. Again, this is we have Lash against Jess, and there's no comm towers. No comm towers, no income. So not only can we can't repair also, you don't have income, you can't repair with your black boat, your infantry, so that's important. So, and this is Jess with 90% firepower from a shoal or a plains against a Lash infantry, which has 120 firepower from being on a forest and 120 defense. So there is no way that this Jess infantry can beat this guy. Not at all. Like, even shooting from this plane, which would be the best tile to attack from, this is just a losing fight. I'm gonna try to put the calculator on screen so you can see what the outcomes would be, sort of. But yeah, I had run this simulation. I was like, yeah, I just cannot win this fight. Like, that is such a weird approach to this map. No one was doing this. Like, what? And on the other side, this Penguin is just gonna go for this base. Like, okay. So we're having the weird stuff going over here, and this is just our normal match. Okay, fine. So I thought really, I thought a lot. He was like, should I can send this one over here, just get this base. But another option would be to attack this guy and then bring my other infantry and really win the fight over here. But that would mean that he would get this base while I'm here fighting, and then I would be super delayed into getting my bases, and he would just have a base much faster. So it probably wouldn't be wise to send this other infantry here. And I can't fight this guy either. I cannot fight this guy. If I fight it from here, I just get wrecked by counterattack, and I probably get killed next turn, and I can't repair either or heal up. So this guy is just gonna go to your normal thing, just gonna go for this base. And I'm actually not gonna attack. I'm gonna load the guy on the black boat, and I have to think, what do I do? Do I unload him here so it's 1 turn away, and then I'm blocking it so I can't attack from the port? But if I do that, then this guy can load up and unload on this mountain. And it's like, okay, do I even go for that? Or I mean, I guess it would be even better to unload. Oh no, I guess this is fine, because yeah, then I can't go capture, and then he can attack me from the forest. So I was like, where do I go? I don't want that Lash infantry to be in a mountain or a city. So I decided to actually take that for myself. Hold on, okay, I'm gonna load off over here, get my infantry on a city, nice defense terrain, and we'll just have to do that. And we'll see if this penguin is gonna just run away. I just wanted that penguin to run away, get away. Just let's go back to our normal matchup. Let's get to our normal match. I've seen how this map plays out a million times. I just want that, and I will win. I am Jess. So, but we'll see. This penguin that I thought was gonna just casually go for that base is actually loading up again into that blackboard. And I was like, oh no. The worst thing is that I knew that was a possibility. This guy is gonna come over here and is gonna unload and is perfectly in range to interrupt the space capture. And this is the reason why I unloaded this guy on this tile and not this one. Because it would have been the same thing, right? Sure, I'll load here. It doesn't matter. Here. It does matter. Because if I did here, I wouldn't be in range to attack that infantry. And he would still be able to do this, what he's doing right now. But I had a backup plan using this tile instead, which is going for this other base, just running away. So that's why I chose this forest, because over here it's 1, 2, 3 turns to this base, and over here would be 1, 2, 3, 4 turns, so I'd be delayed even more. And so Gu7 is actually not gonna unload this guy anymore. He's gonna block off over here and keeping it on a shoulder, keeping it in range, and it's gonna go and start capturing that port, right? You know he's pointing at that base, and the worst thing is that there's this forest tile, so it's like, this penguin did not go, just whatever, just go somewhere else, just go do something else. I just wanted to get into the normal matchup, but no. He had to insist, and I was like, what can I do now? If I start capturing here, sure, I'll have the 30% defense, but this is Lash. It can hit me from the forest with 20% more and 20 defense. And these are just infantry. I cannot stress enough. Any other CO here would have had a better chance, except Jess. That 90% firepower, it is really hurting me right here. I could have been, I don't know, Lash, or I could have been Sammy, even Grim, or just a normal, Adder, for example, with that 100 firepower. That could have changed things. It could have mean that after fighting, maybe I would have won the battle. Like if I got the first strike, say here, maybe I would have win the battle, and maybe I have it at 3 HP, and it'll take me forever to capture this, but still I would be ahead. But no, 90% firepower means, even with defense, it's even worse, because I think it leaves it at 7 or something like that. It's just disgusting. And so I just cannot go for this base. And I'm gonna run away with this infantry. And I'm not gonna go for this base because same thing, he could shoot at me from the planes and have that extra firepower. Again, I'll put it on screen what the damage is. I was thinking that he could even repair it with a black bolt, but he doesn't have any funds, so he wouldn't be able to do that unless, I don't know, maybe he finishes this and then he could, who knows. But I decided to run away with this infantry to this base instead, and this one's gonna run away to this one. And this black boat, this one I kind of bring it, I wanted to kind of block this guy. And I think here I do a little bit of a mistake. This black boat should not have gone here, I think. The plan was so that this penguin could not chase my guy anymore. It couldn't load onto this black boat and chase my infantry anymore, because I was afraid that he would keep doing that. Maybe it would load in and I don't know, maybe drop off here, or maybe drop off over here so I couldn't get this base, and just constantly chasing me. Just all the time, just chasing me all the time, until eventually he could get some infantry attacks and just win me like that, and just win the match with just 2 infantry, and that's it. No capturing of any bases. So I kind of did that. I think the better thing would have been to put it right here to block this black boat from moving over here. because that is exactly what he's gonna do. Now he's gonna move over to this base. He kind of got what he achieved, gonna kind of shoot me away from over here, so I'm gonna go and run away over here. This Blackbird is gonna go and block this tile, which is such an important tile too, and he's gonna go for this base. So he's not gonna interrupt my guy, it seems like, or I mean, he still can. I could come and walk over here, and this infantry could sit somewhere here. Or it would probably be bad because then I can shoot from the city, and that would probably be winning. But this tile is very important because now I lose not only the access between these two bases. There's this bridge, which there's only one tile apart from this, but it is also the way to go and get this airport. So that's going to be a pretty big deal. So I'm going to keep running away, try to get that base. I'm going to run away with this one, try to get that one. I'm going to keep locking that black boat, but at the end of the day, he has the better spot. He can just stay there until he needs the black boat to go and get the airport. And he can also go and get this airport as well because he has this side. So outplaying me in that opening just in such a big way. And he's going to start capturing both bases in his turn, and only then will I start capturing my bases. Next turn, he's going to finish them, and then next turn, I'm going to finish mine. So, if you know anything about FTA counters, you know how maps, you got a 3-base map, and like one of the bases is neutral, and then you have an infantry, an FTA infantry for player 2 on one base, which is closest to the neutral base. That is to neutralize a little bit of the first turn advantage, because if you're the first one, you're always getting income first, you're always making units first, and so you're always ahead of the other player. And that snowballs really fast. And so we have that in Advanced Wars by Web. We have those FTA counters, so that although with those counters, one player will be ahead of the other on one side, but the other one will be ahead on the other. So it kind of like counteracts it. You know, it kind of, you're ahead on one front, but the other one is ahead on the other. So it kind of evens out. So that's the whole purpose. But here, after this whole thing, this whole chasing around, these penguins that were hungry for blood, chasing my poor little infantry that just wanted to capture and play a normal match, like two tiny front match, and is now being a mixed base. I didn't even want to do a mixed base. It's definitely much more advantageous to Lash. It also gives Go7 absolute FTA, first turn advantage. He starts like a whole turn ahead of me. No, he has both bases captured, moves both infantry, and builds from both. So I'm a whole turn behind from Go7. Not only that, the map is now mixed, so that is definitely gonna put a lot of pressure on me, especially on this base, because it is surrounded by these two. I can only make units from one single base, and eventually he's gonna get this airport as well, unless I can somehow contest it. But I don't really have a way of doing that. These black boats also have really low fuel, so I can't really chase around here. So it gets tricky really fast, and he's gonna go and get this other base. I'm also sending my infantry to try and rush this over here, get that second base going, and he is gonna make a recon over here. So after that whole thing, that whole beginning, these penguins just looking for blood, they achieved what they wanted. Maybe in an even ideal world, they would have gotten some shots, and then it would have been GG right there. But at least they got a very nice starting off of the map, getting it mixed and getting that FTA, that full, pure 100% first turn advantage. You know, like in the old days when we played on the Game Boys. So he achieved it. This sneaky penguin with those hungry, bloodthirsty little penguins. So, and now the matches are just gonna develop slowly. We got a recon over here on the top. We got a recon down here, which is pointing at those 3 cities that I'm trying to go to capture. So it's gonna definitely force me to build some kind of vehicle to defend from it. We got another recon over here, which is also pointing at that base. I don't have enough funds to defend from both recons, unless I make double recon. But I decide to make a tank instead. I make a tank over here and I make an infantry here, because I didn't want to I didn't want to fall too much into his play, like reacting with double recon. It might have been better, honestly. Just recons are pretty decent, but there goes Lash. She's gonna shoot, boom, drop my infantry down to 4, getting that extra 30% firepower. And this recon is gonna come in, shoot, and then finish it off over there, boom. I'm gonna start this capture right in front of the comm tower. I really need that comm tower to get that extra firepower. It's nice having those vehicles at 110, but getting it to 120 is ideal. So we're gonna get a shot there on this recon. That infantry was covered by this tank, but not the recon. So I'm gonna get a shot there and shoot at that infantry. Nice little trade there. But the thing is that I'm running out of infantry. Like I lost one. The second one is now injured. I'm never gonna cap anything here because this is one turn away from both bases. This is just gonna be constant fighting over here. There's no way you can get any of these. And I still need infantry over here to capture these, but I probably need to keep pumping vehicles. So I do build that infantry here and I make a tank here to no longer let this recon do any more damage. But his setup is just so strong right now. He's gonna go for this airport right now. Gonna get this port, gonna get this port as well. This recon is gonna just go right in front of this tank and start this finish off my infantry and start this capture on my property. So really forcing this tank to either attack the recon or stop this capture, or I guess stop this one, which obviously the best thing would be to stop this capture. So pretty much going unpunished this recon because of this capture right here. So dictating the match just on every single front. This is why first in advantage is so strong. So I finally get my other base, again, a turn behind than his, or even worse because he got to use the black boat to speed it up. So I'm like 2 turns behind over here. Oof, so behind. But if I can somehow stabilize, you know, bring it to build a lot of army and make it a nice little stally scenario, it will definitely benefit Jess in that scenario. But it's not looking good for me for sure. So I interrupt this right here, boom. I bring this tank to attack this infantry, and this guy just has to kind of run away, and it's gonna get healed up by this black boat to be at 10 HP, so he can kind of go for either of these cities, and this infantry is gonna go up here. It's just very unrealistic to be able to get this. There would have been a way to get this airport if this infantry would have been an artillery, but I couldn't because I had to make a tank over here. So I had to kind of concede this because I could have made an artillery and then put it over here, and then I would lock down the airport. But yeah, I just couldn't. This recon was forcing me to make a tank, and it's what it is. So you're gonna finish here, you're gonna start that capture on that airport, and he is going to get it. This artillery is gonna come, sit on that city with a lash firepower and lock down those 2 cities and this port. And this port is very strong. There's something about the ports on this map. There's always a port in range of a base. It is pretty strong, especially this one. This one's pretty brutal. It is 6 tiles away for a battleship. So I saw that and I was like, I definitely do not want to let him get a battleship for free. So I need to be careful about those funds. He has 14 right now. Let's see what he builds. And he's gonna move off, so he's gonna leave this this port tile open. He's gonna go and take out my guy, which I spent those funds repairing. He's gonna pull these back, and she's just so much more ahead in income than I am. I am gonna get these 2, so I will be at 16, but I am behind. He's been killing so many of my infantry, and I'm behind over here, like in this regard of these bases. So you'll see, I'm gonna start this capture here, gonna start this one. The only thing that I can have going for myself is that I can get both comm towers, so I'll have that extra firepower. This tank, I could have like attacked here and then use the tank to attack here, but it would have been really bad because then this tank would hit. So definitely a good little setup here by Go. I decided to finish off that recon, and this tank is going to go and hit that tank. Look at that 9-3. Lash has no firepower boost here in the roads, and I can just boop, heal that back up and have perfect funds to do that. Boom, look at that, perfect. But again, I have to be careful because those funds, as soon as he starts saving up, he's not gonna have enough to make a battleship next turn. But if he does, I need to be careful. As soon as there's a battleship here, this base is lost. So the thing is that I have to constantly be doing tanks because this base is sending these tanks all the time, and this one as well. Like, this base cannot put too much pressure over here because he has control of this bridge. So I have to kind of send this tank down here to try to connect it with this area. If I can connect these armies, and maybe I can be the one pressuring this one base. Instead of being like these two attacking this, I can use these two to attack this base. And kind of shift the game like that. So that was the plan. So let's see. He ends up getting this airport, which is going to be devastating. He's gonna move out these infantry, he's gonna start these captures. This whole area is like super late in the game, you know, all these uncontested or uncaptured properties. He's gonna take out my infantry and getting set up to capture next turn and protect the artillery. I'm just gonna move back. No need to attack too much. I don't have any infantry here, so there is no threat of capturing anything. And he can have his ready to start capturing. So a really nice setup. Rigon's gonna come in and sit on that port. And yeah, that's it. And still always occupying this little tile. Very important. Because eventually he can go and try to get this airport. I can lock it down with an artillery pretty easily, but I can't. Like, I can't go for that port unless he opens this up. If for some reason he decides to move this black boat somewhere, I can sneak mine and then go and get that airport. So I'm going to go get that comm tower. It's going to be guaranteed. So I'm going to have that nice plus 20 when I have 130 firepower on vehicles and 110 on infantry. That's going to be nice. And this black boat, I saw the opportunity of putting on the port, especially because of how much funds he had saved up. He just made tank, double infantry. He had 14. With 20 more, he's going to have 34. So he could very easily just make battleship and triple infantry, and this base would be absolutely lost. So I decided, okay, I need to earn myself a few more turns to wait, because I know there's an artillery, a lash artillery in a city pointing at that, so it's not gonna last very long, that black boat. But maybe I can hold this off long enough that I can maybe join these armies. Like, I got this recon, this tank, and maybe I can attack this stuff over here, like overwhelm with units over here. I know I'm not gonna get this, so that's fine. I'm just gonna all in this side. And I make an anti-air because yeah, this airport, so I need an anti-air for sure. Especially because if a bomber is made and I don't have an anti-air, and then make it next turn, then the bomber can just attack my anti-air. So you always want to have an anti-air out of range of a bomber so you can counter that bomber. Bombers are just really good. They're just really strong. So it is Ghost 7's turn. He's gonna start a few captures. Gets that southern city. He's gonna start this one as well. And he's gonna shoot at my black boat and leaves it at 5 HP, so guaranteed kill next turn with another shot. So he would be able to buy a battleship next turn, pretty much. And I makes a neo tank. So it doesn't go for a bomber. Decides to go with a neo tank to cover these units, because as I'm kind of joining everything that I want to like pounce. Imagine he made an infantry, then I could pretty much easily attack into all of this until he made a neo tank of some sort. But this neo tank is really gonna scare all of these light tanks away, because I don't have a response for it. I'm just gonna do a little wall here protecting the artillery, making sure I'm blocking off this tank as well, this infantry. I'm gonna try to get these as well kind of set up over here. Makes a copter. So I'm gonna see the opportunity here to interrupt this and go for that port capture. You know, want to flip that income. I'm gonna use the recon to stand over here as he's finally moved the black boat away. So he's opened up this bridge tile. It's a very important bridge tile. The only thing is that my black boat is really low on fuel, so it would not make it over here. That's the problem. So I would need to block here and refuel this black boat for it to arrive to the airport. So my tank cannot attack anything without getting smashed by this neo tank, and I'm gonna block this black boat in there with this one, so then I can potentially fuel it up or refuel it and then go for the airport. The only thing that could kill this recon was this neo tank, I think, and so it would guarantee that I would get this port pretty much. Or also even I can get this port and then refuel this guy on the port and then go for the airport. So I get the double com tower, finally get that double com tower going. I pretty much have stronger units than Go 7. I mean, overall. I mean, yeah, I have, my vehicles have 130 firepower, which is the same that Lash has on properties and silos. But I have it everywhere. So my vehicles are super strong. And the infantry are 110. It's still decent, it's normal. And they are as strong as his infantry on planes. So, not bad. Honestly, my units are pretty strong. Definitely, I would favor more, except air units, but I don't have any air units, so. But yeah, so my units are very, very strong. But the position that I am in, it's kind of tricky. So he gets a bunch of properties. So he's now at 30 versus 20. You can also see the unit value difference. It is pretty big. I mean, it's 5k, but it is the start of his turn. So he's gonna build and enhance that difference. He's not gonna make. Oh, he didn't have funds. Okay, he didn't have funds for a battleship. So he's gonna make a black boat to kind of lock down that tile pretty much. And he's gonna bring this artillery. I was thinking, you can also put the black boat here and prevent this guy from going away, but you can still delete it and then make a battleship. But this is also locking that to prevent this black boat from doing that. Takes down my Recon with a Neo tank, but yeah, nothing can interrupt this port. And we're gonna kind of set up a little defense over here with a black boat. So that's probably the reason behind the purchase of the black boat, just doing a little defense here and conceding this right here. So I can definitely go and start this capture, but I cannot take this anymore. I cannot take the port. He will for sure, if he wants to, he can make a battleship next time. There's nothing I can do to stop that. So, and then he makes a tank over here because I made a recon to try to contest some of these because I know this guy's in range of these two. So I kind of wanted something to be in range, something cheap, and try to force him to build stuff over here so I can try to overwhelm him over on this side. And I got my Neo tank as a response to this one. So it's getting really, really tricky. Now it's my turn. I get to flip that port, which is pretty big, and I capture something more, but still I'm falling behind on income. 28 to 24. I get the refuel there on the black boat, and I'm able to go and sit on that tile. Finally, I get this bridge. This Neo tank cannot go any further, and eventually I can maybe use this guy to go and get the airport. Always moving the map. I wish I could lock in the map in place on this app, but it's not possible yet. Anyways, I go for the city. I'm gonna stand on this port with a recon and go for these two captures. It's kind of risky because Lash infantry on a mountain is kind of deadly, but oh well. I make a tank to protect these. I kind of have enough stuff to deter from this infantry attack. And I send my Neo tank to go and take that infantry out, and I just feel like I can't attack into this, so I'm just gonna divert everything down over here because I see that he doesn't have a lot of stuff. He has one copter and one tank, and I have all of these. I have two tanks, anti-air, Neo tank, and I feel like I'm okay with making another infantry for now. The only thing is that, so I stand this tank on the cities for it to have more defense, but he could probably go and attack here, and although I have one tank defending, this Neo tank is not defending. So let's see what he does. And I get that port, I start this capture, gets that one over there. So yeah, he does go for the attack. He goes and gets the 2-hit there on my tank because I don't have much supporting. Like I can defend with this. I could reach with a power. Like I could break through this tank with a power, and then this tank with a power can hit the artillery. So I think that was the idea. But at this point, I was running out of options. Now there's a battleship. I kind of knew that was going to be happening. So if I attack over here, a battleship will get built, and there's nothing that I can do to stop it. Not even making a rocket or something. It's so tanky. So this tank is just gonna run away from over here. Just run away from this army, and this army is gonna start to get set up over here, looking to probably flip this com tower and get all of these properties. But this battleship, as I was saying before, it is locking down that base, and it is a Lash battleship on a port. Her naval units get that extra firepower from more defense. So it has 130 firepower. It is very strong. So pretty much, I cannot build anything here that isn't like a medium tank or above, because it will get absolutely destroyed. So you either only make infantry and just like have them at 3 HP, or you make a really expensive medium tank or neo tank, but only to be at like half HP. So a Kanbei priced medium tank for it to be at like 5 HP. So it is a very, very complicated and awkward spot to be in, especially with no other support. Like if I had this airport, it could be a different story, because then I can make bomber and try to contest this battleship, but that is not the situation right now. So he's gonna move in here. He also goes for this interrupt with this infantry, and I'm gonna bring this tank out of range of mine, even from a power. But yeah, also brings the copter in this tank, just runs away from the space and kind of allows me this whole space right here. And so I see an opportunity. I'm like, okay, you know what? If I'm gonna get my base overrun, then I'm gonna overrun your base. And so I use the power. I use it to damage this infantry to delay captures. And I'm gonna go ahead and use that power to get that extra movement, because it now moves 7. So it reaches and it actually KOs that infantry. And now I'm able to stand on that base. So I actually got him away from the space. The problem being is that I don't have infantry. If I had infantry here, then I could start capturing. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to bring these guys, but infantry is so slow. And I decided to make a mega tank, because the mega tank is like the only thing that would withstand the firepower from a battleship. But it is gonna be very expensive, and it would just be a sort of like just sitting there and holding the base. I wouldn't be able to make anything from the base. It would just be like I'm spending this money so that you can't have this base. That's it. And I'm gonna go bring this Blackboard. It's gonna go on this port to heal up. I'm not sure why, but it is gonna be in position to then go for this airport. I think it is in range. Okay, so it's the only tile that will then be able to reach the airport. So it's 7 over here, and then go 2, 4, 6, 7. So that's why I had to go on the port. I have to pay extra to get that airport faster, because with that airport, things could change. And so this base is looking very grim, right? For sure. But then I'm somewhat okay here. I think I'm doing an okay job. I'm doing sort of okay over here. Like, I know there's a lot of infantry, but I can kind of beat all of these things. If I can bring these things over here, then I can beat this stuff. And so then, although he has this and would kind of pour over here, I might kind of just go this way. I'm just trying to run away from like what he's doing and trying to push my like my tempo. If you want to have this part, sure, whatever. I'm gonna take this other part. So it's Go 7's turn. He gets more properties. He's always ahead on income than me. He starts the turn ahead on unit value. And yeah, that battleship absolutely one-hit KOs that infantry, which is actually much more valuable than shooting at this mega tank, because I need these infantry if I want to capture that base. And now he makes a bomber. And now, having your base pointed at by a battleship, a neo tank, and a bomber, yeah, that is not ideal to say the least, because there is nothing that can survive that. I don't think even this mega tank can survive against these 3 beasts. Anything will die in one turn. And this bomber, I only have 1 anti-air, so I have to like protect this anti-air with my life. And it's gonna be very tricky because there's so many units over here. There's also a copter, so I can't just send the anti-air to kill the copter, or else this bomber can take out my anti-air and then I'm just dead over here. I need another anti-air, but I cannot build anymore. I can't build any more anti-air. It will just die. So this is my turn. I'm gonna attempt to go for this city and try to get for that port. And I'm gonna attack at some of these infantry. I'm just trying to go all out, attack everywhere, and I'm gonna try to go for that airport, and I'm just attacking all out. This anti is actually safe from an attack from this tank. I'm gonna start this capture here because it would still be 2 turns away from the space, and I all out attack here. But yeah, I'm just going all out because I make the triple APC, which you know what that means. It is the GG. And so, yeah, that was it. I decided to tap out. That was it. I couldn't really, although I had taken him out of the base, it was sort of like it was intended by his part. Like he kind of moved away to make me feel like I could take the base, but without infantry, I can't really. And with this bomber is so strong. I only have 1 anti-air, so I would have to be extremely careful of not losing this anti-air so that it could actually shoot at this bomber. But even then, this bomber could just literally just take out this infantry and lose the bomber, but it would be worth it because he would keep the base. Because he is gonna get this base. There's no way I can defend this base. I want to stress that. There's no way I can keep this base. I am losing that. So in a few turns, he's gonna have it, and he would have 1, 2, 3, 4 bases against just 2 bases and 1 airport. And he's ahead on income, and he's ahead on unit value, he's ahead on all counts, and it would just be a very big snowball. I could have maybe played it out, but it would just be a big bleed out. I would just die. The only thing maybe that could be good of playing it out would be that this battleship would be locked down here, so it couldn't do anything. It would maybe lock down this property, but it couldn't do much besides that because it's locked away by the shoals. But still, he was ahead in all counts. It was just too much. I decided to tap out. I just thought that was insane. This match has been from like a year ago. I had almost forgotten about it. I kind of locked it away, you know, when you have these defeats. But I was reminded about the match. I don't know why I kept forgetting about it, but I was reminded about it, and it's such a unique match. Like, please, if you find another match that is like this one, please let me know, because I have never seen one like this. I have never seen. To start, of course, the map is weird, right? It's like migration, so you get to choose where to go. But I had never seen and never thought of doing what Go7 did, of chasing you with the freaking infantry, like chasing you like this. Like, what? I had never considered this ever. And I saw it, I was like, what? And because I was Jess, like if it was any other CR, I could have had better chances and maybe have a better outcome from this. But no, I was Jess. I had the worst CO. Even Grim would have been better here. Even Grim. Maybe Sonja would have been worse. Maybe actually no, because Sonja on the base would have been even better with the extra counter attack. So honestly, Jess was literally the worst CO I could have picked against this opening strategy. I've never seen something like this. Only possible in this kind of map where like all the bases are contested and you start with these migration kind of infantry. But I thought it was just the most unique ever approach to the map, having not only one of the infantry to go be hungry for blood, but both infantry. They were both chasing my infantry, and both of mine, they had initially tried to go for these 2 bases, and they both were chased away to the next available base, which enabled him to have the purest form of FTA. So yeah, there you have it. The Hungry Penguins win. I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.